I had a porn addiction from the age of 10 all the way up until the age of 21, 22. And because I was watching porn throughout my adolescence and in such developmental years, I really, really have learned how detrimental and how bad lust is, and how so many people are stuck in it without realizing. So in this video, I'm going to tell you why lust is bad, my experience with it, and how you can actually figure it out and sort it out. So what I've learned when it comes to lust, and the reason why it's so bad, is when you're watching a lot of porn, you're being selfish. You're satisfying your own needs. And what you're doing is you're looking at another person and you're stripping them of everything except their body. So now you've got yourself into a state of where you are dehumanizing another person. Now, this has a lot of consequences that, if left unchecked, will completely ruin your life. The main thing, as you probably know, right, is porn. When you watch porn, you're only doing it just because you want to please yourself and just because you want to get off. This will bleed into your life, as I found. Now, I really struggled with a lot of my relationships all throughout, school, into college. I really struggled with women, and I didn't realize it was because of porn. Because for so long, and through a developmental stage of my life, I was only looking at women through this lens of them being this sort of pleasure object. I found it really, really hard to connect with women because all I saw them for was sex. I didn't see them for their character. I didn't see them for the intellect or the ability to get along with them. I just saw them for that physical body. And when you do that to an entire other half of the species, which is, the female sex, you have a lot of problems. I found that it made it harder for me to form any sort of intimate relationship because when you watch porn so consistently, you are training your body to be selfish. You're training your body to get your own needs. And as a result of this, you're not only going to do that within an intimate relationship, you're also going to do that within relationships with your friends. So you're not going to be treating your friends as well as you could be. And as a result of that, you're going to be more lonely. As I get closer to God, I realize that lust is such a distortion of what true intimacy is meant to be. You're fed it, and it keeps you weak, because when you're constantly lusting after people, you end up losing sight of yourself. Because if you're dehumanizing other people, over time, you don't know what it's like to be human. You don't know what it's like to actually feel yourself and feel aligned. And that becomes a major problem because, like I found, you just become really lonely. And you probably found it yourself. You feel a little bit more isolated. You feel nervous around women. You feel like you can't open up around the people that you care about and the people you like. And you feel like you're in a relationship with lust, but it's an abusive one. It doesn't treat you well. It leaves you feeling worse than what you did when you first entered it. And over time, it slowly ruins your life. But the problem comes when you convince yourself that it's not that bad. So I had this for so long. I convinced myself that it was okay and no, it's natural. I'm telling you, man, lust is not natural. Yes, you can have an attraction towards women, but if you're lusting after them and you're looking at them for just their bodies, I'm telling you, this is not normal. It's not natural. You should treat it like a sickness because it's sin and it's wrong. The way that I managed to actually fix it and cure it, this is really fascinating. It wasn't counting your no-fap streak or doing some stupid... I don't even know what people do to be able to quit porn at this point. I don't know, they get like a habit tracker or something. It's like, oh, well, 7 days, no porn. That didn't work for me. But what did work was understanding. Now, you're in a relationship with porn, but I know deep down you want a relationship, you want to have intimacy in your life, perhaps you want a family. You want someone for you to be able to enjoy. You want to be able to engage with a woman properly and actually feel them on a deep emotional level because you don't feel like anyone knows you on a deep emotional level. You will never, ever achieve that so long as porn is in your life. Now, you might even be in a relationship and you're watching this, but I'm telling you, you will never be able to achieve the depths of the relationship that you think you can as long as you are still lustful and as long as you are still watching porn. Now, I know this is turning into more of like a porn video, right? But it's one of the main things that causes lust because you're not looking at that person for what they're meant to be. When I eventually understood that I'm going to be lonely for the rest of my life, I'm never going to attract the women that I wanted to attract. Like at the time, I was attracting some women, but not the women that I wanted, which is probably similar to you. You're attracting women, but they're not the women that you really want. I sat down and I really questioned. I sat alone in silence. This is something that you should do. Sit alone in silence and just think. And it made me realise that I was never going to be in a relationship so long as I still have this lust in my life. I was never going to be happy. I was never going to be satisfied. And I'd probably die alone if I continued to let this. And I sat there and I questioned myself and I thought, do I really, really want, like, is this porn and is this lust really worth it to be alone? And I came to the conclusion that it wasn't. And as a result of that understanding, immediately I was able to change my habits. See, when it comes to changing habits, it's not necessarily about a tips and tricks to be able to get rid of addictions or whatnot. All it is about understanding. Because when you have something to tether your willpower to, it becomes so much easier. Like, honestly, it's like with a fat person who's obese. If they look at themselves in the mirror and they realise they're obese, it's become so much easier to be able to realise it. When they realise their health is on the line, it becomes so much easier to remove these things. The reason why you haven't been able to get rid of lust from your life at this moment in time is because you haven't been able to have the understanding of how detrimental lust is to you. If you want to be able to live as close to God as you possibly can, if you want to have a fruitful relationship, if you want to be a good person, a good brother, a good friend, then lust is going to be the thing that is going to be in the way of that, because it's going to open the door to other sins. It's going to make you selfish. It's going to make you prideful. It's going to delude you, and it's going to deceive you into thinking you are something that you're not. But I can tell you from personal experience, now that I've really managed to get lust away from my relationship, so I'm in a relationship of 2.5 years at this point, and since getting closer to Christ and removing my lust, it's enabled the relationship to flourish. And I can tell you, if you can't be in a relationship with someone and not have sex, you probably shouldn't be in the relationship with them. You probably shouldn't. You need to be able to go without sex because you need to be able to be with that person in an intimate state rather than just the physical state. The emotional side and the spiritual side is so important. And lust is going to block you from that emotional and the spiritual side. The physical realm isn't the only realm. There's different realms in life. And if you want to be able to experience life in all its fullness, then understanding what you're going to lose if you're going to stay in this relationship with lust is super important. I hope you found this video helpful. Subscribe.